Today I'm training that L sit to handstand position. Now you don't have to start with that, obviously that's pretty hard to get from that position all the way up to handstand, but I'm going to go through some progressions, how you can work towards it and even step it down and start working towards it even if you don't have a free standing handstand. Now obviously to do the full movement you need to have a L sit position and we need to have a handstand on the P-bars. Now to do the eccentrics, the progression or the prerequisite is to be able to do a handstand on the P-bars like this and then come down to that L sit position in some way. But if you can't do that handstand on the P-bars now, you can still work on these transitions from this position through to the L sit or from this higher position through to the L sit, and that's what I'm going to go through today. Now you can either use fixed P-bars, you could use P-bars like this that are separate, or you could use two boxes. Start off in this standing position between the bars and do a simple step in to a L sit position and back out again. If that's easy and you have the flexibility, just straighten the legs and come back again. Next progression up would be to go both legs at the same time. The same with straight legs. And you could do repetitions or just hold for time. Then we can do exactly the same, but instead of standing directly underneath, you stand towards the back. Now again, step into the position, either bent legs or straight legs, and come back out again. Notice my feet have gone back here. Try and do that with the least amount of swing. I could do both legs at the same time. Then I can do the same but raised up at the back. Now with this one I'm going to protract and push down on the bars a little bit more and try and decelerate myself as I come through to the L sit. Same on the way back up, push up to protraction and back again. So there's a big push and round in the upper back. You want to try and get into maximum protraction, try and round the upper back like you're going into a tuck planche position. Now it's common here people will start to struggle. Now if you do struggle, just start with the eccentric. So start in that position, hold there, round that upper back, protract, push away, step into it, slowly transition to the L sit, straight legs if you can, and then just step back out. And then just work that eccentric. If it's easy and you're ready to go a little bit higher, same thing, but now I'm going to kneel on the bars. A little bit sketchy, but take the weight in the upper back and shoulders, knees in, go through to your L sit. If you can, back again, or just work those eccentrics. Now we can get to the real fun bit, so I'm going to stand on the bars. Now if you don't have the flexibility to be in this position, you could bend the knees, but your feet are on the bars obviously, and then I'm going to try and lift up, keeping the knees bent if I don't have the flexibility. Then come through nice and slow to your L sit. The flexible version would be the same but with straight legs. Come through to your L sit. And then if you can, back up with either straight legs or bent legs. Now you can hear that. That's pretty hard to get back up onto there to get the feet at the same height as the hands. And that's where you could do a harder version down with the eccentric and an easier version back up. It doesn't demand so much height in the hip. Then we can do the handstand down, the handstand eccentric. Now you've got a couple of options in terms of getting up onto the bars. If you're still working on your standard press handstand, you could do a kick or a little jump into position. Obviously just work inside your ability. Don't backsplat from this distance. So from there, I'm going to come down into a nice easy tuck. Slowly come through. Once I get out and take out the momentum, I straighten the legs. If I have the press, I could press from that position, whether it's straddle, oh that's not a great one, a tuck or whatever variation of the press you have, and then come down as slow as you can. So the two straight legs this time, through to that L sit position. Then you could do the same, so you could press up, whichever variation, so more of a froggy tuck, up, do the slow eccentric down, and then use a concentric variation, maybe one of the easier ones, coming back, and then step back out. And obviously just work with the hardest variation of the concentric and the hardest variation, the eccentric you can do. Now this is extra tricky today because I'm trying to film this as fast as possible because there's a storm coming, but I can't do the handstands on the P-bars in the garage. That's why I'm out of breath. And it's my old age as well. Then we have quite a few different variations with the concentric only, so starting at the bottom and going up, so the full movement. You could do a straddle press, so you could start in your L sit position, you could go through, up, straddle press round, and then pike down or straddle back down again. Whichever version you're using on the up, you could use momentum to help you, so you could swing through it a little bit more, and I definitely need to do that with the pike version. So you can see when I do the pike version that I use quite a bit of momentum to go through. I have to be very careful because my knees want to bend, because the hips and the legs are just so much lower than when I pike press off the floor. So I might need to bend the arms to get myself through, to pull the body round, pull the hips and the legs up. Now, a lot of ways, the straddle stool to press version, this one, is easier than the pike because the legs and the hips don't go quite so low. So if you see where the hip and the leg gets to there compared to here, I have to pull the hip up from this position. That makes it so much harder for most people unless they have a very, very deep forward fold and can stack the hips really high up on top, and they can get through to that position comfortably. So let me know if you have any questions of this one. Thumbs up and subscribe would be appreciated. Check out the website if you're interested in any coaching, www.paultwyman.com.au, and I'll speak to you next time. Thanks, guys. Oh, and there's a discount code down on the bottom for the website.